there, everybody. So today, I was actually just having a conversation with a client earlier, and today's live stream is all going to be about what kind of legacy do you want to leave? Because one of the things that this client brought to me was, I don't really want to do webinars anymore. I don't necessarily want to do this piece of my business anymore. I wrote a book and I don't feel connected with this. And he said something very interesting to me that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are creative and feel multidimensional feel is that feels cemented in the time that I was in at that moment. And that struck me because of the fact that so many of us are creating so many things, and we don't really think about the fact that we're creating it based on where we are right now, not based on where we want to be in the long term, because maybe we saw a need, we wanted to fill that need, very, Disney-esque kind of feel. But now we're like, okay, well, I don't actually know what I want to do with my life. I don't know what the next thing is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't feel clear on any of this, and I don't feel connected to any of it anymore. And for most of us, there's something that has to be done, that we have to make money in order to eat and live indoors. So, what does that look like for you in this season as you're walking through this? And this is what I really want to talk about today. So, you are more than welcome, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, to go ahead and pop this in the comments. If you're finding this on a replay, hashtag replay, and I will come through and I will interact with all of you and answer any questions that you have, or just have a conversation with you of what does legacy look like. But there's a couple of key things that I want you to think about today. And these are going to be mostly work through it and dig it up within yourself and grab that journal of yours and actually sit down and write down, what does that look like for you, of what this legacy is going to look like. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what are the goals that I have? What do I want to accomplish? And then once you've written those down, what is the bigger thing than that I want to accomplish? What if I could do anything? If money was not a limit, if how I felt about being on camera wasn't a limit, if how many children I have, how many children I don't have, what kind of relationship I have, where I live, if none of those were limiting for you, what would you do? What would you want to do? What could you possibly see yourself doing? You might start with what everybody else has been putting on you is a $10,000 a month, a seven-figure business. But have you really ever asked yourself, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want out of this? You might not want a seven-figure business. You might want a six-figure business, or you might want an eight-figure business. You might not be concerned about the money at all because you have everything met and you don't need to worry about that, like this client that I was talking to earlier. He had the money that he needed. He had the time freedom, and he still wasn't figuring out what was the next thing for him. So you have to start asking yourself, what does that mean? Because you're going to get to that next point. You're going to get the money. You're going to get the time. You're going to get the accolades that you're looking for. And then there has to be something deeper than just those things, because that's very finite. Yes, having all the time in the world, but you could have all the time in the world and be making all of the money and still not feel any purpose of where you want to go in life. So sitting down and writing out those goals, and then forcing yourself to go a step further with, what does this actually look like long term for me? And then talking about, what kind of people do I want to help, and what do I want to help them with that align with those goals? Because a lot of times, like myself included, I got into business because I got thrust into it, thrust into greatness, as they would say. And what I found along the way is there was a lot of things that I was really good at, but they weren't necessarily things that I loved doing. And so, what do you love to do? And I know I've had this conversation with many people, including some of my friends, of, well, I love doing this, but I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to sell this, or how am I going to make this profitable, because I love to see X, Y, and Z happen, or I love to help people do A, B, and C. And really working through those, because is that something that people, one, will pay for? And if it's not, is there some way that we could put it into your life and into your business that you don't need to get it paid for? Maybe there's a sponsor, maybe it's a nonprofit, maybe you're helping out in a different area in order to have that opportunity and to fulfill that need within yourself. And really digging deep on, so my goals, and who are the people that I want to serve, and how do I want to serve them. But the third piece that I went over today with this client was specifically talking about, when I've done those things, what two things, what emotions am I going to feel, and what emotions is my client going to feel? Because especially as, if you're a more logical person, it's easy to go, well, they'll feel more put together. They'll understand themselves better. None of those are emotions. All of those are a state of being. And so we're looking for how people feel. Do they feel like they love their life? Like they have empathy for others, that they're grateful? Those specific kinds of words. And I actually will be dropping in the comments for you a link to emotion words, because whether you feel like you're an emotional person or not, I want you to go through those words, and as you're going through your day, as you're working with people, as you're talking to friends and loved ones and children and partners, highlighting the emotion words that they use. Because there's so many emotions, and so much of the time we're like, oh, well, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm depressed. And we kind of stay within that little circle of just about 10 different words, dozens of options for you. So I want you to take some time and really think about, what could that look like for you, and what kind of goals that you have for yourself. And then I want you to drop them in the comments so that we can have a conversation. If you're not comfortable putting something in the comments, feel free to DM me. I would love to have a conversation with you about what that would look like, and what your next step could be with those goals, because we get stuck in ourselves and then we don't actually have those conversations that make things happen long term for us. So I encourage you to do the hard work of taking these questions and journaling with them today. And I'm excited to see what you have to say about them.